almost 20 years, the LongRun Thoroughbred Retirement Society has placed or helped place over 1,000 retired thoroughbreds into loving homes. With the help of the Ontario horse racing industry, LongRun prides itself in pairing up the right horse to the best suited adoptive home. Let's have a look at some of their graduates and how they live today.
Already hot, storming down the center of the racetrack along with Maple Tints. Maple Tints between horses. There is Smart Sky. Down to their inside is Mano Meadow. Here is the finish. Pick one. It was one of three of them. It was either Maple Tints, Mano Meadow, or Smart Sky.
I found LongRun through my aunt, Liz. She's friends with Vicky Papas. She introduced me to the program shortly after she adopted a horse herself. I sort of walked in her barn one day and I was like, what's that? And that was her new toy, Dennis. So I went, I would like one too. So she introduced me to Vicky. I saw some horses on the website, but one was emailed to me specifically, and fell in love with that and went on from there. So really, it was just a referral. I hadn't heard of them before, but now that I have heard of LongRun, I refer them to anyone that I can think of, because I think the program is fabulous and what they do is fantastic. I was looking for a horse I could turn into a hunter jumper. I wanted something that's not too tall, just good size for my body type, something that was calmer but had a personality. And a horse that just made me feel something. I was sent an email from LongRun with a picture of Knight, and he had little mittens on his ears. And I went, Jesus, he's got character. So I called them up, and 2 days later I walked in the barn, and he actually stuck his head out. There was the whole aisle of horses, and he stuck his head out when I walked in the barn, almost like to say hello. And I walked right up to him, and he nuzzled me right away, and I went, you know what? I didn't even go in his stall. I looked at the owner and I said, you know, when can he come home? And she goes, when do you want him? And 2 days later, he was in his new stall in his new home. Ready, spaghetti? Come on. So I got Knight in December, just over a year and a half ago. So what I did with him initially is I just gave him the winter to play. I wanted him to be a horse. I wanted him to sort of detox from the racehorse life. You know, just go out and play in the paddock and be a horse and just not have a job at all. I just groomed him, played with him, got to know him. I wanted that bonding experience so that when I started to ask him for things, he would reciprocate with me and he would have a trust with me. So I just started simply going up and down the driveway, walk, trot, halt, very, very simple basics. Moved on to a little bit more lateral work, and now we're working towards jumping. It's taken us a year and a half to get to this point. I did it very slowly. I have no timeline, but this year my goal is to get us into a little schooling show, even if it's over 2-foot little fences, and we make it around the ring. That's all my goal is for this summer, and he's loving it. He's not sure really what's going on with the jumps. He gets a little bit nervous at first. But I mean, after building that trust with him, he's starting to understand, you know what, if mommy says it's okay, it's okay. So we're getting that under our belt and we're getting going, and it's been really great. Good boy. Knight came into my life at a time where I was going through a lot of personal demons, and I really needed something to distract me from that. It also been a dream of mine to have a horse of my very own. I mean, I've part-boarded, I've leased, I've done all those things, but this was my first horse, and this came at a time where I really needed it. And he was a distraction to all the chaos, all the sadness and whatnot that was going on with me at the time. And I think he honestly saved me from myself. I know this is a cliche thing to say, but I don't feel like I adopted him. I feel like he adopted me. And we became a team, and he definitely has changed my life for the better. Good boy, you're so awesome. Yeah.
I found LongRun through one of my clients, Mark Greenwood, and he introduced me to Sherry Van Sickle, and she is an incredible person. In November, she asked me to come out to a farm because she knew of this incredible horse, so we went out to the farm, and it ended up being the LeBlanc's farm in Orangeville. We found James down by the docks, who's now named Exaltation, and from the moment we saw him, we just knew that he was an incredible athlete. He had a beautiful trot, a beautiful canter. I actually never got on him. We just bought him from looking at him and put him on the trailer and brought him home. And that was in November. And in January of the next year, he did his first event in Florida. And he's never looked back. He's just been an incredible horse for me. And hopefully we'll have him qualified for the Pan American Games next year in Toronto. On home ground, and that would just be pretty amazing. The most unique thing about training thoroughbreds for three-day eventing is that they come out of their previous career with huge stamina. They've learned how to gallop, they know how to gallop, they have endurance. So 90% of our time is spent on training dressage with them. The first day of our three-day event is dressage, and it's in a little white arena, and it's all about being pretty and accurate and looking fancy. And I would say out of the three days that we do, that is definitely the hardest to train our thoroughbreds in. The second day is cross country, and that is when they are in their element. They get to full out gallop across the country, upwards of 25 miles an hour, at solid obstacles, jumping through water, over ditches, up and down banks, and those horses love that. It's one of the best phases to ride a thoroughbred in. And the third day is show jumping, and that just tests their accuracy, being able to go from the cross-country course where they're full out galloping back to the show jump ring where they have to be collected and more conservative and jump really accurately. So I would say that's the second thing that we train the hardest, is our show jumping and just their carefulness. The best part about working with LongRun is that you know exactly what you're getting. They are completely upfront and completely honest about the horses that they present to you. They're very good at showing you the correct type of horse for each rider that comes into their door. The best thing about riding thoroughbreds is that they are 110% heart. You can train these horses to do absolutely anything. They can show jump, they can do dressage, they can do hunter jumpers, they can do eventing. They're just incredibly unique animals and very adverse. They're good at a lot of different things, and if you're willing to take the time and work with them, they can turn into everything that you need them to be.
And to the inside is Angel on the wing. They're in the final quarter mile. Perfect Soul has taken the lead. Strut the Stage is in an all-out drive. Angel on the wing is hanging tough toward the inside. Perfect Soul with the lead. Strut the Stage is coming on now. And it's Strut the Stage on the outside, who has taken the lead from Perfect Soul. Strut the Stage to win the Chinese Cultural Center Stakes. Perfect Soul second best. Angel on the wing holds on for third.
I think the thoroughbred is the ultimate equine athlete. They're bred to race and run, obviously, but when that career is finished, they can put their hearts and minds into a second career, regardless of what that discipline is. They're willing, they're forward. Argyle and I school dressage perennially, and he may not always understand the language that we're trying to learn together, but he always tries. He never stops. I think that's probably the best attribute of the thoroughbred. And LongRun takes thoroughbreds when they're finished their racing careers and facilitates them moving into another discipline where they excel. Given the right training and handling, I think they're the ultimate. I am a member of an OEF recognized club called the Renaissance Riders. We're a recreational riding club. You have to be a mature woman to be a member. Most of our members have horses. This year our club has 28 members, and we set up clinics, educational clinics, some on the ground, some riding. We'll all arrange to meet and ride through the Ganaraska Forest. And a special event, which Argyle and I are going to next weekend, is a 4-day camp, just like children's camp, except we're bringing our horses and probably some wine. And we have an education program running. We have lessons, dressage lessons. We do obstacle courses. At the end of the year, we have our own little 3-event competition where we do a speed event, which is barrels or weaving poles, an obstacle course, and a dressage test. None of us are experts at anything, but we all have a lot of fun. And there are, I would say, maybe half a dozen off-track thoroughbreds ridden by club members. I have always felt that being a rider was part of my identity. And for a number of years, I had no horse to ride. And for my birthday, I gave myself Argyle. And oh geez, I'm getting choked up. Argyle has been very kind to me. When we started out together, he was very easy, and it was a little bit scary getting back in the saddle. And so I've had him for 6 years now, and he has allowed me to be a rider again. And I didn't realize what a loss that was to me until I was back in the saddle. And I do feel the whole world disappears every time I get in the saddle, and it's an amazing thing.